My ducks. My swans. No, I'm just kidding. That's not my intro. That's Dorian's intro. All right, so we're going to make a thumbnail for Dorian today. So here's how you make a thumbnail, boss. So first, you're going to save an image. This is a good one because we're exposing. TPain's exposing. He's exposing. He looks like he's up to some exposing shit right here. So in terms of how I find whatever I'm looking for, I'm going to do this on Photoshop. 1920 by 1080p, 72 pixels per inch. It's usually the good way to go here. And I'm going to move myself over. All right, so we're going to import this photo. I'm going to unselect the background thingy here, and then I'm going to press, so for you, for Mac users, it will be Command A. For me, it's Control A, and then copy and paste the image. So this one's nice because it actually fits the whole screen. Sometimes I have to play around with making things larger and shit like that. So this is pretty nice here. If you want to change the sizes and stuff like that, you do Command T. And that'll allow you to transform and then move stuff around. What I like to do first is start off with the Instagram one, so I don't really add any of the YouTube thumb stuff. So I'm going to, duplicate the layer here. And then I'm going to click on the eyeball, turn the behind layer off. Now you have two options here, and it's just kind of a basis of preference and what you'd actually prefer. You could either go to the magic wand tool thing here. What's this? Magic wand tool, and right click to open this, and you could just select the areas around TPain or whatever subject you're trying to highlight, so you get rid of the background. Let's see, I need to make sure I have the top layer here selected, and then I could just click and then delete like this. So this image is being nice to me, but in other cases it might not completely cut out every little bit of detail that you actually want. So even if I click here, it still might get like his shirt and his dreads. This is actually a pretty clean cut because it's such like a different color than before, but what you're gonna have to do is go over and kind of trace to smooth out all the edges. Just, Photoshop likes to use spaghetti code from, the 1800s. So that's why a lot of its AI program tools suck. So if you're using a different program, it could probably do this better. Especially for an image as clear as this. So what you're going to do now is just make sure you're going to want to, in this case, smooth out the edges here. And I'm just going to do a very rough trace of this. In a perfect world, you'd be able to do this perfectly. And there's better editing softwares than Photoshop that can probably do this. But for the sake of sticking with industry standard, I'm doing this. And you'll see why in a little bit. Alrighty, so now we have a relatively clean cut of TPain here. We'll just get this little bit here. I'm using the eraser tool, by the way, if that wasn't made clear. And essentially, I'm just tracing the outline. So what you're going to want to do after this is you're going to want to go to the layer that you selected on top, and then right-click, go to blending options, and you're going to be presented with this little weird drop-down menu. Not sure why they do it like this, but it is what it is. You're going to go to stroke. In this case, I think having a black outline here is going to be the way to go, so make sure you select black. You could also select white if you want a white outline. It's up to you. I usually like sticking with 8 pixels per inch here and have the position be on outside. And you're going to notice there's a lot of little goobies kind of hanging around, which, obviously we can't have that. So you just kind of have to go over and retrace a lot of the goobies, get the goobies out of there. That's at least what I call them. A lot of the times they'll also get caught in this, especially if you blow a big image up, the border will be outlined, which, you don't really notice it at first, but it's something you're going to want to at least get rid of. So here's a good example where the blue kind of bleeds in a little bit, and this is what's nice about the stroke function, is that you could erase this bit back here, and the line will kind of shift with where you're, redefining your edges here without it you needing to reset it or messing with the color too much. So that's useful in that circumstance. So like this here as well. And once you complete this step, you kind of have a better outline of what it's going to look like here. So go back to that blending menu, right click on the layer, Once you do stroke, you're going to go to drop shadow, click it, and these are my drop shadow settings. I'd stay with that, to be honest. It's, you know, just kind of the best way, and it goes best against the color here. So after this point, you're kind of done with the outline trace, at least for this thumbnail. And then you're going to click on the background image here, and it looks like he's kind of popping out. You see, like, there's these kind of weird things, shadows appearing. This is a part of the drop shadow. That just means that, like, the side wasn't completely erased. So just go to the eraser and just start erasing that out if you really want to. It's kind of hard to notice, but I notice it. After this, we're going to go to the gradient tool here. This is what I have my gradient settings set up as. I just have, you know, your group 82 blue. The other color, I just use like a pink purple kind of thing, so we'll make it a little more purple in this case. So make sure blue's on top and pink's at the bottom. Go to the gradient tool, make sure it's kind of resembled such as this with these settings, and then make sure you drop the opacity to 62%. Now this is a solid color image, so it's not going to really matter too much, but basically you're going to click on one side, drag the other side, or drag the mouse to the other side, and then boom, you're going to get that blue-pink gradient. It looks a little bit weird because it's just one solid background color, but honestly, that kind of covers what you need it to do. And so this is our Instagram thumbnail. We could even change the stroke color to white in this instance if we really wanted to, but I kind of like the way it looks with the black outline. So I'm going to export that. What we're going to do now is I'm going to add the YouTube background to it right here. Copy and paste that, and you're going to want to drag that to the top. And in order to get TPain in there, we're going to click both of these layers here, and then press shift and left click to select both of them. And then we're going to right click on one of them and link the layers. Then we're going to go to the move tool, and that way that'll shift both of them. Now, honestly, TPain's a little bit big in this thumbnail, but I actually think it looks good because he's looking shifty. You know, he's looking like he wants to expose. You know, he's looking to expose someone. Let's see, we got your font selected. I usually select it in 80. That could work. It could be a little bit more. It's kind of like a trial and error thing. There we go. Got to make sure it's centered, and then did adjust it here if you want to get the tracking to work a little bit better. This bit right here, this is the tracking bit, and that way it'll kind of smush together more or less. Move this over to the side here, and then we're going to highlight the font in a different color. Let's match the thumbnail I made for the YouTube, actual YouTube bit. And there we go. And that's how I make Dorian thumbnails.